In this video, I want to talk to you about how do you dial up the mind in the times of uncertainty. This is the time that you need to really think about this. I am Laurence Tham from laurencetam.com. I want to show you a couple of things that I guide my clients with, and this is what I really help them mostly with to help them before they actually activate any strategy or action. So let me talk you through this. And in certain times, what actually happens is that you get stuck of this fear and panic and anxiety stage. And the reason why you get stuck is because, well, let's face it, in those uncertain times, we don't know when or how long it's going to take for us to kind of get out of this, and if we're going to get out of it. And so that mindset starts to creep in, and it really starts to affect on how you make decisions and how you take actions. And so what's important here to realize is, how do we shift our mindset? Because really what happens is that most of us think that if we just took more actions, everything will be fine. And I'm telling you that if you take more actions in a anxiety or anxious or panic type of mindset, it actually works against you, not for you. Taking action isn't the right call here. What you need to do is you need to really reset the mind. And something I'm very cautious around when I help my clients is that they make sure, like my clients at Nitro, I want to make sure they reset their mind on a regular basis. And so what happens is, because we know that as human beings, we are going to go through this emotional roller coaster. To think otherwise, I think you're delusional. Because when you think about us as human beings, we're going to ride the highs and we're going to ride the lows. And we're going to have this emotional roller coasters as we go through this. We may be motivated at one point. Like I'm sure that, after a video, watching a certain webinar or something, you get excited, but there are points where that excitement starts to drift and then you start come crashing down to reality. And the problem with that reality is that it's not a pretty sight. And if you start to make decisions and behave a certain way, that could actually work against you, because then you make a wrong, decisive decision that could cost you. What I really feel that you need is, before you take any actions, you need to reset the mind. And when you need to reset the mind, you need to do it on a regular basis. In a previous video, I talked about how the three things that you need to really focus on when it comes to, dealing with this pandemic. The three things is that you need to first take care of safety, which means that safety first. You need to learn to figure out how to take care of yourself, your business, and so on and so forth. We talked about that already. That's about protection. The second thing you need to have is structure. You need to create structure in your life so that you can be at the peak performance and performing the best version of yourself to be able to make these decisive actions. But before you make those decisions, you have to have a structure that sets you up to accelerate. The third is obviously being of service, and that's the action. That's how we execute. And being of service to your clients right now is the best thing that you could do, whether you're existingly seeing clients or not, or if you're closed, you're creating massive amounts of value for your patients. And that's the critical thing. But I want to talk about structure, because what happens is that we're going to go through this ups and down. And then once that safety is taken care of, we got to create some structure around us to make sure we are continually making sure that we are in the best mindset possible. Because if you're, like I already talked about, if you don't have the mindset, it could recreate massive havoc. So here's the challenge. You need to learn how to reset your mindset and shift it back on a regular basis. So every week, what I'm doing for my clients right now is that we're, providing mindset pieces every single week. And at the beginning of the week, for example, I talk to my coach and come in and talk to my clients to reset their mind. He's coached over 45 plus champions, Olympian champions, teams, and so on and so forth to help reset the mind. Next week, we have a four-time bestseller coming in, who's been on Oprah several times, and she's got an incredible story to help us reset the mind. I do that at the beginning of the week because I want to make sure my clients are really set their mind towards a very productive week. And so that's a structure that I created for my clients and people in Nitro. And that's something you should consider for yourself, is how do I reset my mindset on a regular basis, every day or every week, so that I can really shift it. But here's a concept that I teach my clients that would be helpful for you to reset your focus, because my mindset is such an important aspect, because without the correct mind, you're going to be making poor decisions, as I mentioned. So here's the thing. I think of a line, and just imagine you're on the road by yourself and you're riding this bike. And every time you're on the line is what I feel like you're basically in a position of flow. And every time you're on flow, this is a great thing, because when you're on flow, you're in a position of making sure that everything's going right. But sometimes, once in a while, that you're going to drift and you're going to come off the line, and that's when you're out of flow. And right now, you want to be in flow. You want to make sure you stay on that line as long as possible. So a couple of key elements is that we need to do is two things. Number one, the golden rule number one is get back on that line as quickly as possible. That's the most important thing and the most important rule. And so if you want to thinking about that line is that there's this line here. Just imagine that's the black line, there's a line here that you want to go through, and if you come off the line at any given time, your number one goal, that's the first thing, is to kind of get back on that line. You want to make sure you can get back on that line as quickly as possible. The second thing you want to do is you want to be able to stay on this line for as long as possible. If you can do those two things, that's the general rule. But here's the challenge. What you recognize is that you're going to go through phases where you're going to come off the line. That's the whole point. You need to understand that it will come off the line. That's a given. You can't stay on that line forever. And what happens is that when you do that off the line is important to know. But sometimes what happens is that there's a truck that comes off and hits you that you're going to go way off the line. And you're going to have broken bones, you got broken ribs, and you're down for the count. But the same two rules apply. The two rules are: one, get back on the line as quickly as possible, as humanly possible. And that may take some time. That may take, hours, or it might take weeks, it might take months. But right now, we've all been hit by a freaking Mack truck. We've all been taken way off the line. And so what you got to figure out is, how do I shift my mindset to get back on that line for as quickly as possible? And number two, how do I stay on the line for as long as possible? Because you don't know what's coming. But I can tell you, the faster you're able to transition from this place to this place, the better you will be. Because what happens is that the longer you stay down, the longer you stay out of the game, the harder it is for you to get back. And it's a very big challenge at the moment, especially in the environment that we're in. This times of uncertainty requires you to take action, but you can't be taking action if your mind is not in the right position. So learn to dial up the mind, learn to reset your mind somehow, some way. There's certain structures that we teach within our program to help you do that, but you got to figure out some structure to be able to get your mind in the game every single day. Why is that so important? It's because how you come out of this later on would be determined by the actions you take over the next few months. I'm convinced that the world that we're heading will be very different than the world you're currently living in, or what it was 3 weeks ago. To think that it's going to be exactly the same, I think it's false pretense. And I would suggest you rethink about how you're going to how you're going to come out of this, and the type of leader, business structure, and how you're going to pivot, the way you're going to pivot in the future, and stop thinking that this is going to go back to normal. Because in my opinion, it's never going to go back to normal. So things have changed and you need to learn to adapt. So I hope this has been helpful to help you reset the mind as we head to the weekend. You reset your mind every single day, reset your mind every single week. That will help you kind of get set to make decisive decisions that will actually help you. A couple of things. If you want to learn how to navigate through the COVID-19. We have a COVID-19 action plan in Chiral Think Tank and in the Facebook group. I'm doing that in real time as the information comes through. I want to be able to help and serve those people that are in that group. So just go search under Chiral Think Tank by Laurence Tham, or go to the link below and then click onto the link and join up there. The second thing is, if you want some personal help and help you navigate some of these mindset stuff and how to elevate you to a higher level to make sure you plan and strategically have an action step that's designed for you and your practice only, then go to the link below and go to joinnitro.com, see what it's about. If it resonates with you, book a call with me, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hope these videos have been helpful, and if it has, please give me some reactions to it. Share this with other people. Make sure you comment below so I know that you're getting some value out of this, and so I can continue to serving you to help this chiropractic profession rise above this, and we know we can stay ahead of the curve if we make sure we take actions today. Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't already done so, that subscribe button, you should press it. And because I want to share videos with you just like this one to help you grow your practice.